the Jatakas are one of the books in the Buddhist scriptures. He says that a husband and a wife should pamo dhammadana ekachittang samagavattam. They should live together with joyful mind, of one heart, and in harmony. Ekachittang. Eka means one, chitta means mind. Of one mind. Now I find that very interesting. In the Bible, it says a husband and a wife should be of one flesh. That is, of one body. That means, you're not getting it. Understand? You look like somebody's had a lot of experience. Of course, marriage means physical unity, but interesting that the Buddha didn't use the word of one flesh. Ekachitta, of one mind. So for the Buddha, it was always the emotions, the psychological aspect that was more important. We should be able to see eye to eye. The Buddha criticized the Brahmins. They were the Hindu priests of the time, because they used to buy their wives. He criticized the Brahmins for buying their wives rather than coming together in harmony and out of mutual affection, meaning that he considered that to be more important than buying a wife, or a wife who had been bought. He said that a husband and wife who love each other deeply and have a similar karma may be able to renew their relationship in the next life. Isn't that interesting? Now, some people, their idea of hell would be to be reborn with their wife in the next life. But you imagine if your husband or your wife was also your best friend, your soulmate. And some marriages are like that. I think certainly not all. Here in Singapore, about 1 marriage in 3 ends in divorce within about 10 years, which is a very unfortunate situation. But occasionally you meet people who really love each other in the best possible way. They've been married for 20, 30, 40 years. They are each other's best friends. They may share a great deal together and yet have other interests apart from their partner. And the Buddha said, in such a case, if they have a very strong bond between each other and they have similar karma, that would be necessary, they may be reborn in each other's company in the next life. Now this is interesting. If you think about it, does that mean the woman will be reborn as a woman and the man as a man? Maybe not. They might be both men and become very good friends. Or they might be brothers and sisters and be just very, very close to each other. And this explains why sometimes people just get along so well with other people. I was watching Oprah Winfrey some time ago. Now I want to make it quite clear that I don't often watch Oprah Winfrey. It just happened that I was watching it. And she was interviewing a young man and a woman, and they had the most amazing story. This was the story. He was at the airport going somewhere, and his plane was late, so he had to wait in the waiting area. A young woman, was waiting for her plane. They sat next to each other and talked for a matter of a few moments. I'd really appreciate it if you didn't read that paper while I was talking. That would be most polite. Thank you. They only talked for a few moments. She got on her plane, he got on his, and that was it. He couldn't get her out of his mind. And she couldn't get him out of her mind. She went up to Seattle, somewhere like that. And for weeks and weeks she just was thinking about this guy. The same thing was happening, only he did something different. He thought about her so much that he decided to see if he could find out who she was and make contact with her. He went to all the trouble of going to the travel agency, blah, 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 the airline company. He found out the seat number, the name, etc. And he actually ended up finding out where she lived. And he rang her up. He told her the effect that she had had upon him. And she confessed that she felt the same. So they arranged to meet. They spent a few weeks together, they got married, and they've been married for 10 years. And I was listening to that, I thought, what an amazing story. Why doesn't that happen to me? How do you explain that? I really don't know. But when you remember that the Buddha said that people who have a very strong affinity in this life may be able to meet again in the next life and renew their relationship in one way or another, I thought, well, maybe that's exactly what that is. Now, in the Buddhist scriptures, the ideal couple was an old gentleman called Nakulapita and Nakulamata. Their children were very devout disciples of the Buddha. And they'd been happily married for many years. And one day, Nakulapita told the Buddha, in the presence of his wife, he said, Lord, ever since my wife was brought to my home, when I was a mere boy and she a mere girl, I have